Hey everybody, welcome back to another Science Sunday. This week we're talking about Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead. So I'm gonna briefly read some excerpts from the passage. This is in John 11. It says, "A man named Lazarus was sick. He lived in Bethany with his sisters Mary and Martha. Jesus heard that he was sick." I'm going to skip down to verse 4. But when Jesus heard about it, he said, "Lazarus' sickness will not end in death. No, it happened for the glory of God, so that the Son of God will receive glory from this." So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit, but what happens here is Jesus finds out Lazarus is sick, and he decides not to go to him right away. He waits a few days, and when he finally goes there, Lazarus has died, and he's been dead for a few days already. And everyone says, "Oh, if you had just been here, he wouldn't have died." And Jesus says, "No, I'm here. He's not going to die. I'm gonna take care of it." But his point is that he wanted to use this as an example to show that God has the authority over death, that God can do anything he wants. He can bring people back from the dead, and that when he makes the claim that he's there to save everyone, from our sins and eternal damnation, that he can back that up because his Father has the power to do that. So it says here, Jesus said, "Lazarus is dead, and for your sakes, I'm glad I wasn't there, for now you will really believe. Come, let's go to him." And then further down in the chapter, he says, "I am the resurrection and the life. Anyone who believes in me will live even after dying. Everyone who lives in me and believes in me will never, ever die." And then, just to kind of prove all of this, Jesus goes to the tomb where Lazarus is, and he says, "Roll away the stone." And then Jesus calls out, and he says, "Oh, sorry, I gotta flip the page here. Come on, there we go." He says, "Father, thank you for hearing me. You always hear me." This is Jesus talking to God. "But I have said this out loud for the sake of all the people standing here, so that they will believe you sent me." Then Jesus shouted, "Lazarus, come out." And the dead man came out, his hands and feet bound in grave cloths, his face wrapped in a headcloth. Jesus told them, "Unwrap him and let him go." So Jesus waited. He could have come and he could have healed Lazarus right away, but instead he waited because he wanted there to be a situation where he could prove his authority over death, and to prove the power of God and to give God glory. So that's pretty cool. I love that story. What we're going to do is we're going to show an object lesson that you guys might have already seen, but then we're going to explain kind of the science behind it, and it goes along with this story. So let's go to that. So we're going to do our experiment here, and we are talking about Lazarus and how Jesus raised him from the dead. So I thought it would be fun to do the classic experiment where you draw on a plate, and you guys have probably seen this before. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw Lazarus, our buddy. You can see my super fancy drawing. That's pretty much exactly what he looked like. That's Lazarus right there. All right, so what we're going to do, I want to let the ink dry a little bit.
Why are you drawing on a plate?
You'll see. All right, so we just drew with a dry erase marker. Now, something really cool happens when you put some water on it. Watch this.
It's not doing anything.
Oh no, his leg came off.
Wait, what? What? It's like making that thing float above.
Wait, it's making it float.
Watch this.
It's floating on the surface.
Hey, I'm Lazarus.
Floating on
I'm back to life. Hi, guys.
Whoa.
Oh, I'm shaking him up too much. No.
If I touch it.
Is it seriously floating? Wow, it is floating.
Mom,
Isn't that crazy?
see this.
So, what's happening here? Here, let me dump this, and we'll get into the plate.
We need to see this.
Yeah, rinse this off. All right, so what's happening here? Actually, maybe you guys can tell me. Why do you think that happens?
Because
New plate.
water is
Oh, you're getting close.
It's floating.
Floating on water.
Okay, so what do you think that this stuff is made of?
Dye.
It's like an oil.
Color
It's like,
dye.
it's like oil silicone. Okay, it's like this composite material that is different than water. So, do you guys know that if you mix oil and water together, that they do not mix?
Yeah.
Right? They can't mix together. So what happens with this is, here, Micah, draw something for us. Draw like a bunch of the small things.
Mommy,
So we got some drawings here, and we're gonna see what happens. All right, let's introduce our water. And so again, you know, the stuff is made out of this oil silicone stuff, and it doesn't mix with the water, but even more than not mixing with it, it is less dense than the water, which means that it wants to float on top of the water.
Look, the boat's broke and wait, it feels hot. Whoa!
Look at that stuff.
It's like kind of like a solid.
Whoa.
Yep, and it floats on top of the water.
And it doesn't come off of you. Really.
All right, you got to use this to wipe off.
Mommy.
So we're going to do one more experiment here that kind of goes along with our floating Lazarus. And this is to show you how different substances have different densities and how they also don't mix together. This is called a density column. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a bunch of different liquids inside this, and we'll show how it stays separated and they don't mix together. So the first thing we're going to do, we got to be really careful about this to make sure it doesn't like stick. So the first thing we're going to put in here is honey, which is the most, it's the liquid with the greatest density. And we'll just put, that's a good amount right there. Okay, so there you go. We got our column. We start our column off with some honey. And then the next thing we put in here is syrup.
That's how we're gonna pour in.
Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be tricky because it might actually mix with this because I usually use something long to put it in there, but I don't really have anything long. Actually, let me go ahead and do this where you put it on the side like that there. All right, so it should, if this works well, it will not mix
There's it.
with the honey. It might mix a little bit, but all right, can you come down lower here and see how you have the honey on the bottom and then you have the syrup on top of it, and it's not mixing together. And we're going to add some more things here.
What else?
Let's see. So we got our honey and our syrup in there. Now we're going to put in dishwashing liquid, and this one's clear, so it should just have a clear column of this. Oop, gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. Because you can't force these liquids to mix, and it'll take a long time for them to separate, but they will separate. So that's why I want to pour it in here carefully.
There we go.
You see it? All right, so now we have 3 columns. We got our honey, syrup, and
Soap.
Soap. The next one is going to be tricky because this one will mix with the soap. This is water. And we colored it green just to
Add some color on there.
add some color. And this one's tricky. Is this really the right next column here? Because I feel like
Oof, it's not.
It's
it's mixing.
Yes. Oh wait. Oh no, it's not really mixing.
It will eventually mix. But if we do it right, it should
It
separate.
didn't really mix.
Oh yeah, it works great. Look at that. So now you have, that's the dishwashing soap and that's the water. Okay, next thing is vegetable oil.
Ooh.
This stuff right here. Alright, it's gonna be a tricky one.
So it might mix with the oil on the
I think it will mix with the,
water.
no, it'll mix with the soap. So we gotta be really careful about this one because we don't want it to go below the water level. Alright, I can't really see it, so you guys gotta tell me when it's high enough.
It's going higher.
And it's probably good enough. Probably good enough.
Good? Okay. Alright, look at that. We got our...
Looks so
Now what's crazy is this level, the dishwashing soap, and the oil will mix together. So both
They
are
look like the
separated.
same.
You see how it's kind of bubbling up? Isn't that crazy? All right, next thing we're gonna put in there is rubbing alcohol. And
No,
that?
drink it.
yeah, all right.
Oh
so,
yeah, I'm actually did.
So we're gonna pour rubbing alcohol
Do I remember
on the
you-
very top. All right, here we go. And I colored this one purple.
Remember you once drank rubbing alcohol on accident?
Okay, I think it's kind of going underneath. It's kind of mixing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting a little mixed up.
Yeah, it's mixing.
You know, I might have gotten that wrong. I might have been. Do you see how it's kind of going underneath the vegetable oil? I think it. No, it should be above it. Yeah, I don't know for sure. We might have gotten that one wrong, but that's okay. All right, the last thing we're gonna put in there is lamp oil.
Lamp oil, dude.
Dangerous.
All right, this is stuff you put in lamps to burn. Okay.
Oh, that's working.
Kind of. Oh, yeah.
That's working.
Get it up to our 100 mark. And that is it. That is our full density column. So you know, again, this is the same thing that happened with the marker. This is why the marker floated on top of the water, because it's less dense than water. And you can see here, all these liquids have different densities. So honey is the most dense,
And then it gets
and then syrup.
and then thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner.
Well, not necessarily thinner,
Well,
but less
less
dense.
dense.
And what that means is that you're packing in more and more molecules together, closer together. So if you think about it like a piece of metal, like lead, is very, very heavy. You know, if you have something that's like this big, that's made of lead, it's going to be much heavier than something made of like
Silver.
sponge or, you know, almost anything else,
A sponge this
because
big
the lead is very, very dense.
Well,
And
the
so-
the clear ones, looks like it's just floating.
the clear ones look like it's floating. Yep.
Well, the bubbles are not.
Looks like a lollipop. Well, okay, do not drink this. If you guys make this at home, don't drink it.
Cool.
All right, I think that's it. Thanks everyone for joining another Science Sunday, and we'll see you guys next week.